the virgin who stilled the drums of war. Long ago, in the thick green lands of western Nigeria, where the sun painted the forest gold and the talking drums echoed like thunder, there existed two mighty Yoruba kingdoms, Ìlá-Oòrè and Ajègbò. These two towns, rich in culture and strength, were separated not just by a river, but by a deep history of bloodshed and pride. Ìlá-Oòrè, ruled by the fearless Oba Adegboyega, was known for his warriors, men who danced into battles like lightning and struck like the gods of iron. Ajègbò, on the other side, was ruled by wise Oba Ajani, whose people were masters of charms, steel, and secrets. No one remembered what started the war. Some said it was the killing of a royal messenger. Others whispered about a stolen bride during the festival of Oshun. But one thing was clear: the war never ended. Generations passed, sons buried fathers, and mothers mourned daughters. The drums of war became the lullaby of post towns. But destiny had other plans. In Ìlá-Oòrè lived a girl named Aduke, born under a blood moon. Her cry said to silence the wind. She was beautiful, so beautiful that even the trees bowed when she walked past. But it was not her beauty that made her special. It was her heart. She hated war. Every night she prayed to the gods of peace, offering kola nuts and sung, asking them to bring calm to the land. One night, as the moon danced on the river dividing the towns, Aduke had a vision. In it, the river ran red, and a golden dove flew between two crowns. She woke up and knew what she had to do. With courage burning like fire in her chest, she did the unthinkable. She crossed the river into Ajègbò alone, wearing white, holding no weapon, only the chain of Ori, that is fate, wrapped around her wrist. The people of Ajègbò were stunned. They had never seen such boldness. Some called her a spy, others wanted her dead. But the young prince of Ajègbò, Prince Ayotunde, saw something else. He saw the dove from her vision in his dreams. He felt the gods staring. He listened to her speak, how her people and his had suffered, how her soul ached for peace, how she was ready to sacrifice herself if it would end the war. She spoke not with fear, but with fire, and the prince, moved by her bravery, did the impossible. He asked for her hand in marriage. When word reached Ìlá-Oòrè, rage and confusion erupted. How can our daughter marry the son of our enemy? But the Orunmila priest consulted the Ifa and declared, the blood of the innocent will quench the fire of battle. The wedding was held by the river, where warriors once fought. Now they stood as guards of peace. As Aduke stepped into the arms of Prince Ayotunde, the clouds parted. Thunder roared not in war, but in blessing. The two Obas, bitter for decades, embraced for the first time. And so, Aduke, the Virgin of Ìlá-Oòrè, became the Queen of Peace, remembered forever in songs, carvings, and festivals. The drums of war were silenced, and in their place rose the melodies of unity. Till this day, the towns celebrate Ojo Alafia, the day of peace, when one brave girl married an enemy prince and turned war into love. Peace had returned to Ìlá-Oòrè and Ajègbò like dew returning to the dry heart. Aduke and Prince Ayotunde's union had broken the chain of hatred that once strangled the two kingdoms. But peace, as the elders say, is like a clay pot on fire. It must be washed carefully. 3 seasons after the grand wedding, Aduke sat in the palace garden, now heavy with child. Her glow was more than maternal, it was spiritual. People came from both towns to greet her, to bless her belly, and to offer her gifts for the unborn heir who would rule over a united land. But deep in the shadows of Ajègbò, war still lingered in whispers in the hearts of men who had lost everything to Ìlá-Oòrè. One of them was Baba Rogba, an old war chief whose three sons were buried on enemy soil. He saw Aduke not as a queen, but as a traitor. He gathered rebels from both towns, men who fed on revenge, and plotted a ritual to awaken Ogun, god of thunder. Their plan: assassinate Aduke during the festival of Calabash Moon when both towns would gather in celebration. But fate had its own warriors. Among the palace guards was Tanemola, a hunter turned sentinel who once vowed never to serve any king. But Aduke's kindness changed him. She once healed his wounded sister with herbs and prayer. On the eve of the festival, he overheard the rebels' chants and discovered the plot. Without waiting, he ran to the palace, where Ayotunde, now king, was praying at his father's grave. The warning came just in time. As the festival drums beat and dancers wailed under the moonlight, Aduke stood in the center, holding a calabash filled with honey and ash, a symbol of sweetness and sorrow. Just as she raised its eye for the blessing, the traitors struck. Arrows flew, swords clashed, screams filled the air. Aduke did not run. With power only the gods could give, she dropped to her knees and slammed the calabash into the heart, shouting the ancient words of Aye ati Ọ̀run, heaven and earth. Lightning struck, the earth trembled, the calabash cracked open, and a golden mist poured out. Everyone froze. The traitors dropped their weapons. Some wept. The spirit of the unborn child, touched by divinity, had awakened early, shielding his mother. Baba Rogba fell to his knees, trembling. "Forgive me," he cried. "I let grief blind me." Aduke, despite her pain, stepped forward and touched his head. "Let this be the last blood we almost spilled." The next morning, she gave birth to Omoluabi, a son born with a strange mark on his chest, half sun, half moon. The priest declared him a divine child, chosen to lead with both strength and mercy. Years passed. Peace held strong, not by swords, but by stories. The tale of Aduke, the Virgin Queen, and her brave stand against hatred was carved into sacred stones and sung at every festival. The river that once divided became a bridge of markets, laughter, and marriage between unsworn enemies. And every year, when the Calabash moon returns, both towns gathered by the river, they tell the tale of a girl who married peace, silenced war, and built a kingdom. Not all heroes carry swords. Some carry wombs, prayers, and unshakable courage.